when I was a boy each week, on Sunday we would go to church and pay attention to the priest. He would read the holy word and consecrate the holy bread, and everyone would kneel and bow. Today the only difference is everything is holy now. Everything is holy now. And when I was in Sunday school, we would learn about the time Moses split the sea in two, and Jesus made the water wine. And I remember feeling sad, miracles don't happen still. But now I can't keep track, 'cause everything's a miracle. Everything's a miracle. Wine from water is not so small, but an even better magic trick is that anything is here at all. So the challenging thing becomes not to look for miracles, but finding where there isn't one. Holy water was rare at best, it barely wet my fingertips. But now I have to hold my breath, like I'm swimming in a sea of it. It used to be a world half there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-down. But I walk it with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now. Testament, that'd be very hard to say. See another new morning come, say it's not a sacrament. I tell you that it can't be done. This morning outside I stood, I saw a little red-winged bird shining like a burning bush and singing like a scripture verse. It made me want to bow my head. I remember when church let out, how things have changed since then. Everything is holy now. It used to be a world half there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-down. But I walk it with a reverent air, 'cause everything is holy now.
Good morning and welcome to our Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of San Miguel de Allende. Buenos días y bienvenidos a nuestra comunidad unitaria universalista de San Miguel de Allende. Thank you for joining us today. Gracias por acompañarnos hoy. In the knowledge of the space of the Chichimeca, Otomi, Purépechas, I want to welcome all to this sacred and shared space. No matter what you believe, who you love, no matter your political preferences, race, gender, or spiritual background. Reconociendo el espacio Chichimeca, Otomí, Purépechas que compartimos, quiero darles la bienvenida a todos a este espacio sagrado, sin importar sus creencias, amores, preferencias políticas, raza, género o trasfondo espiritual. We encourage you to bring all yourself and embrace the diversity that exists and the interconnectedness that bring us together. I'm Carla Espinosa, proud member of the Sunday Service Committee, and I will be your service leader today. Now, in February, we're having potluck happy hours in town, and for you to meet and get to know our UU neighbors better. So if you have not already signed up for the Neighborhood Connection Gathering, or you want more information, please see Ellie Goodwin at the information table after the service. The information table is right there. And we're going to be so happy to be able to strengthen the community with you. After the service, those in Zoom are invited to stay connected and visit with others in the main room for discussion. And if you're visiting here, please stand up so we can see you and say hi at coffee hour. We would love to know where you are. Thank you all for coming. After the service, everybody were able to share some coffee and cookies in the table, and we will have some time to share and talk to each other. If we have any visitors in Zoom, please type in your name, where are you from, how you connect to our fellowship, so we can keep chatting with you, and also you have the opportunity to meet our online community. When you're having your coffee, the ones in Aldea, we invite you and encourage you, please, to visit the Social Justice Foundation table that we have, so you know what our fellowship is doing and taking action to. We also have the Thursday luncheon games in La Frontera. If you need more information, in your order of service in the back, there is more information. And you can also see Pat Lareed, right? And she can help us with more information. And we have Tom's Coffee Hour on Zoom. You can get more information either in the web page or in the order of service that you have in the back. Now, we do record our Sunday in-person services, and you can find a link to this in our website, UUFSMA.org. It's important to consider the ORG. And while sometimes happen that we're looking for the net or the com. And while on the website, also check the various events sponsored for the fellowship and the information, either how to become a member, how to participate in the foundation, and all the beautiful activities our fellowship is doing now. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm the Reverend Tom Rosiello, minister of the fellowship, and it's good to be together. This has been a tough week for many of us as we try to engage with all the craziness our world throws at us, and with the loss of renowned men like Jesse Jackson, and within our own community, the passing of much-loved member Bill Dulcimer. In today's service, we focus on Unitarian Universalist religious education. This was a topic very dear to Bill's heart. He'd been wanting us to have this service for a while. In fact, the reading that Carla will share with you later was one that Bill wanted to be sure we included in this service. This morning, we come together in the strength of community, both mourning a loss, but also looking to the future that our children and youth represent. We light our flame this morning in memory of Bill. So many memories that we hold dear. All the ways he served our fellowship, more than I can list. His commitment to this congregation was unwavering to the end, not to mention the many ways, with kind words and deeds, he gave so many of us support. He connected with us in so many of us as a true friend. Bill's light still shines among us, and at a future date, we're going to have a celebration of his life. But on this Sunday, when we address UU religious education, we honor him really in a very appropriate way by raising up one of his true passions. He's certainly with us in spirit today. So let's now come together in song, a song that reminds us of how we are here with each other as we journey through all the adventures of life. It's number 354 in your hymnal. The words will appear on the screen, and Lauren will be leading us from the pulpit.
please remain standing. Yeah, it's a great day to do some exercise, but we need to stay. We're going to recite our beautiful and specific covenant, the word that align our values and the agreements that we have as a community. I'm going to guide in...
It doesn't come up. It's your part.
Okay, yeah. I'm going to guide in Spanish, and Jerome is going to guide in English.
Okay. We respect the interdependent web of life and work for a just and peaceful world. We encourage the search for truth and meaning, strive for compassion in our relationships, seek values that will benefit our lives and the lives of others. This is our covenant.
Respetamos todos los estilos de vida dentro de su red interdependiente y trabajamos por un mundo justo y pacífico. Alentamos la búsqueda de la verdad y la comprensión total. Nos esforzamos por mantener compasión en nuestras relaciones y buscamos valores que beneficien nuestras vidas y las vidas de los demás. Este es nuestro convenio.
And now you can be seated. I think that was the first time we had a mother and son team do our covenant, so wasn't that beautiful? We are a caring community. Each week we share significant joys, sorrows, and concerns with the hope that by doing so, hearts are opened to helping and reaching out to each other. You know, in the Talmud, it's written that when you share a joy, the pleasure is doubled, and when you share a sorrow, the pain is cut in half, and may that be so for our congregation. And for each joy, sorrow, or concern we share, we light a candle, as Carla will do this morning, indicating that that person or that thought or that prayer is held in our hearts. If you wish to have a joy, sorrow, or concern shared in an upcoming service, please email it to me, or if you're coming to the service, write it on one of the cards the ushers have, as some people did this morning. And if you're on Zoom, you may type it into chat now, and Diego will keep a watch to let me know if there's anything that comes in there. Okay. Of course, we already lit our chalice for Bill, but several of you asked to light a candle of gratitude for all Bill Dulcimer gave to this community. So we'll start there. I'd like to light a candle of concern for Margot Johnson, who took a nasty fall, but now patched up with a few stitches, is coming along, and we wish her a quick recovery from her injuries. Christiana Coakley wants to light a candle of joy for her husband, Arturo Jesus Tovar Terán, because he got his visa, which he's been trying to do for quite a while. Gary Belkin has a real interesting joy, but also with a concern. He writes, my cousin, Michaela Schifrin, won another Olympic gold medal this week. She has won more golds than any other U.S. Olympian skier, male or female, in Olympic history. The concern is that Michaela and Gary's ancestors immigrated to the U.S. from what is now Belarus over a century ago, fleeing Russian pogroms and anti-Semitism, and they were the fortunate ones. Today, the world is still under siege from bigotry and impediments to immigration. Let's see what we have on the cards. George Arnson writes that Lynn Padway went to the hospital on Thursday with alarmingly low blood pressure. She's greatly improved, and this morning moving to a regular hospital room today. Let our thoughts and healing prayers be with Lynn this morning. I don't know who this one's from, but fellow SMA friend Deanna lost her young son Philip this week. We hold Deanna in our thoughts and prayers. And this is a concern for animals that are being mistreated in San Miguel and in Guanajuato in general, so we'll light that as well. Diego? Yes. Okay, let's see what we got here. A candle of joy for Dan Newspiel and Kathy Canepa, because they'll be with us all in person at the Allende next week. Okay, hang on, there's a bunch of them. Okay, those are just replies to that one. A lot of people responded to that. It says, welcome, Gab. Oh, okay, we are Gabby and John Geyer from Santa Fe, New Mexico. I assume those are connected with you, and they're glad to be here, and we're glad to have them with us. Okay. I think most of them are responding to each other, so I think I've covered them. I hope I have. All right. Now, certainly our thoughts and prayers are not just with our individual members or those attending, either on Zoom or in person. We also reach out much more extensively to the world, and we light two special candles each Sunday. The first one is our peace candle, and we light it with a prayer for peace everywhere in the world, wherever there is conflict taking place or potentially taking place, be it Ukraine or Gaza or in Africa or Asia or Venezuela. Please hold thoughts of peace in your prayers for the world. Our other large candle is what we call our Mexican candle that we light each week. This one is for the Mexican people. Many of us who are guests in this country wish to do so as an expression of gratitude to them for their welcome and hospitality. But we also light this candle with concerns. And again this week, our concerns are with the harsh U.S. policies that are hurting Mexicans and the harsh treatment and unjust treatment to Mexicans among other immigrants in the U.S. We light a final candle, a small one, for all the joys, sorrows, and concerns held deep in our hearts but remain unspoken this morning. I invite you now into a time of prayer or reflection. Spirit of community, in which we share and find strength and common purpose, we turn our minds and hearts to one another, seeking to bring into our circle all who need our love and support, those who are ill in body or spirit, those who are lonely, those who have been wronged. We renew our commitment to justice, fairness, and compassion for all people. We acknowledge that we are part of the web of life that makes us one with all humanity, indeed one with all the universe. May this time of shared joys, sorrows, and concerns lead us to a better understanding of our community and the precious gifts that we possess that enable us to minister to each other and strengthen us in our resolve to live the values and principles of our faith tradition. And now, as we enjoy some truly beautiful music, I invite you to come forward and join Carla and I down front. If you'd like to light a candle in silence, we invite you to do so.
Thank you very much, Anne, Francis, and Malcolm. That was beautiful. Good morning, everyone. Most of you are used to hearing me speak Spanish up here in the pulpit area, but today I will be doing, because I will not be able to do English and Spanish because the talk is a little bit too long in English itself. Pero quería decir a los que quieren una traducción al español que tenemos varias aquí en la mesa y pues están bienvenidos a agarrar uno, ¿ok? Bueno, some of you probably know I'm up here because I'm the teacher most of the time of the children when we have them in about twice a month in the classroom. So I'm going to tell you how all that came about. Really, over the years, Unitarian Universalists have devoted special attention to the religious lives of children. When I say over the years, it's about 200, or by now about 225. Both denominations, remember that they were separate back then, led the way in the movement to create Sunday school programs for children and youth in the early 19th century. On our Universalist side, in 1790, the Philadelphia Convention of Universalists decided to establish actual schools in every church. That decision led to the founding of an it's called Ecumenical First Day School in Philadelphia. They used the Bible as a text, but the mission was really not to teach religious education, but rather to teach literacy to children who worked the other 6 days of the week. Back then, that's what happened, yeah. On our Unitarian side, 20 years later, First Parish Church of Beverly, Massachusetts, which, by the way, was founded in 1667 and is now called First Parish UU. They started the first known Sunday school with the specific purpose of providing religious instruction to children. And now, according to the congregation's official history, and let me tell you, this 359-year-old church takes its history seriously. It's all in there, and it's all in the very nice old language. Its earliest teachers, Miss Hannah Hill and Miss Joanna Prince, who gathered a company of 30 neglected children who were playing about the wharves on the Sabbath and taught them that knowledge which is beyond price. That last part is in quotes. That was the beginning of a movement to establish Sunday schools actually in many Protestant denominations. But don't think everyone was happy about it. Some argued that Sunday schools encroached on parental territory, or even worse, that they encouraged parents to neglect their duties of religious instruction. Others felt the new schools broke the commandment not to work on the Sabbath. So it wasn't that, easy. And the teaching techniques of these early Sunday schools were basically old-fashioned catechisms that relied on memorization and recitation. Eventually, 10 Unitarian churches formed a Sunday school society that began producing a series of manuals for different grade levels, acknowledging that lessons should be geared to children's development. And that was actually a novel concept back in those days. Unitarian minister and leader William Ellery Channing famously condemned catechism as a teaching tool in an address to the Sunday School Society in 1837, declaring that the great end in religious instruction is not to stamp our minds on the young, but to stir up their own. And we're going to hear a little bit more about that later, just after this, okay? Although Universalists had less central structure, ministers and lay people also published a steady stream of materials, pamphlets, books, etc., to teach their hopeful message of a loving, forgiving God. But it would be many decades before curricula began moving from being material-centered, teaching doctrine, to child-centered, as the American Unitarian Association or abbreviated as AUA. That's the precursor to the UUA that we know now. They pledged to do that when it published its 6th Unitarian curriculum in 1912. So it took quite a while from the beginning to get kid-friendly material in there. Throughout the 20th century, both Unitarianism and Universalism moved farther and farther from reliance on biblical teachings and memorization that were used by the mainstream Protestant denominations. In 1937, the AUA appointed the renowned educator Sophia Leon Faz as their curriculum editor. Faz implemented the revolution that Channing had called for. Her first book, Beginnings of Earth and Sky, looked at ancient creation stories alongside scientific accounts, taking the radical view that both stages in the human search for truth, that these were both legitimate stages in the human search for truth, is the first of the new Beacon series, a wide-ranging curricula based on the philosophy that religious education should be grounded in the firsthand experiences of children. During the same period, while Universalism held to its central precept that God is love, Unitarianism redefined salvation as character. That is, being in right relationship with God and one's fellow human beings. Deeds, it stressed, were more important than creeds. At the same time, the mainstream Christian denominations maintained their orthodoxy about salvation, that humans were lost and doomed to an endless hell unless they repented or did whatever else their denominations told them to do. Other factors, including advances in modern science, also played a role in this theological evolution. Our Unitarian and Universalist ancestors were excited about moving away from biblical orthodoxy. They were excited about Darwin, who himself was Unitarian, and his theory of evolution, and about all the other scientific discoveries that better explained our physical world. At the same time, they were also inspired by new knowledge and ideas about the Bible and the growing understanding that it was written by many different people at different times in different places, living in different political situations and contexts. This explosion of new knowledge and ideas had a powerful force on both denominations and on religious education. They began using more progressive educational material, methods such as teaching Bible stories in context and acknowledging that science and religion were not in conflict. Unitarians began including other sources of wisdom in their curricula: mythology, folk tales, and stories from other religious cultures. One of my favorite examples is Sophia Faz from Long Ago in Many Lands, still in print after 78 years, and still a great source of stories for children. I depend on it often. At the same time, our Universalist ancestors were focusing on the nature of Jesus as a welcoming and inclusive teacher and friend. Following the union of the two denominations in 1961, particularly during the 60s and 70s, the so-called sexual revolution in the United States, Unitarian Universalism produced About Your Sexuality, a comprehensive program for adolescents designed to provide accurate information about sexuality and healthy relations. And don't think that was without controversy either, but they survived. And more recently, that has been replaced by a curriculum called Our Whole Lives, which is a lifespan sexuality education program with courses designed for virtually every stage of life, from really little to really much older. Okay. Between 1980 and 1999, curricula were also being developed for adults as well as for children and youth. Much of the focus during those years was on the 7 principles and the Unitarian Universalist identity. Spirituality and social justice also became part of the curriculum. One example was a curriculum called Race to Justice that looked at racial justice as a spiritual issue. But the biggest, most expansive, and my very favorite UU religious education program, Tapestry of Faith, was introduced in 2000. I was teaching religious education at my previous UU church in the US at the time it came out. It was huge, with semesters, literally, worth of courses for all age groups, pre-K to adults. And best of all, it was all online, adaptable to the needs of virtually any congregation, and available to anyone for free. Not just UU congregations, anybody could go online and access it. And that is the primary curriculum that we use now, still, for our Young Explorers program here. Unfortunately, a small bit of bad news here. While it is still available online, the UUA has decided not to continue updating it or adding new material to it. They have decided instead to shift their focus to developing much of their children's curriculum on anti-racism and dismantling white supremacy. While that is extremely important and much needed, it's less relevant and harder to adapt for Mexican children and youth. So while I'll be watching curriculum development very closely there, because more will be developed. At this time, we'll continue using Tapestry of Faith for our program here. Anyway, so what does this look like in the classroom on a Sunday morning after our students carry their chalice lantern back to the Sala Allende? As many of you will remember, in 2024, the UUA General Assembly adopted a new set of shared UU values. Here's my little laminated version that I made for the kids in kid-friendly Spanish words. And we take those into they are, I'll just, to remind you, the values, the shared values are justice, equity, transformation, pluralism, interdependence, and generosity, all of which center around love because they all come from love. Okay, so during each class, after sharing their alegrías y preocupaciones, their own joys and concerns, the young explorers listen to and discuss a story from Tapestry of Faith, and they take out these little charts and we talk about what are the UU values in the story, and we try to find as many as we can. And after that, they dive into their snacks. And I'm gonna say, and that's probably their favorite part of the class. And sitting right over here, we have Udam Craft, who supplies us a lot of those delicious crafts. So I like to thank him too at this moment. And that's it in a nutshell. Thank you for listening.
I want to thank you for the snacks because, our kids really feel them. One session, my son didn't want to do absolutely anything because he only needed to eat that day, and they absolutely understood and were very kind with him. Now I will invite you to this beautiful response reading, The Great End of Religious Instruction by William Ellery Channing III. I will read the first part and you will read the second part that is in green. The great end in religious instruction is not to stamp our minds upon the young, but to stir up their own.
Not to make them see with our eyes, but to look inquiringly and steadily with their own.
Not to give them the finite amount of knowledge, but to inspire a fervent love of truth.
Not to form an upward springs,
not to bind them by ineradicable prejudices to our particular sect or peculiar notions,
but to prepare them for impartial, conscientious judgment of whatever subjects may be offered to their decision.
not to burden the memory, but to quicken and strain the power of thought,
Not to impose religious upon them in the form of arbitrary rules, but to awaken the conscience and moral discernment.
In a word, the great end is to awaken the soul, to excite and cherish the spiritual life.
Well, I was the first child of what was then called a mixed marriage. My dad was Catholic and my mom grew up in a federated church. And if you're not familiar with the New England religious landscape, that means a church that was a merger of several liberal denominations, most commonly Unitarian and Congregationalist, which likely had been one until the early 1800s and then split and were now coming back together. It was common in small towns because they really couldn't sustain the cost of running two churches, and the theologies had become quite similar during that period of time. Sometimes other churches, either officially or unofficially, joined. Methodists sometimes, American Baptists sometimes, and even Quakers. My mother was raised, and my grandparents belonged to, one that was a merger of Unitarian and Congregationalist and Methodist, with some Quakers attending. It was a time when for a Catholic to marry a non-Catholic with the blessing of the Catholic Church, conversion was not required, but there had to be a pledge that the children would be brought up Catholic. That is to say, attending catechism. In truth, I don't think my dad really cared much about it. But my mom took the promise seriously, so I went to catechism on Monday afternoons. But there is another part of the story of my religious upbringing. As my mom often either worked weeknights or made rounds at the hospital where she was employed on Sunday morning, I often spent weekends with my maternal grandparents. My grandfather was a Quaker who didn't have much use for formal church services. But my grandmother, the daughter of a minister, attended that federated church every Sunday, and when I was there with them, I went too. I attended the first part of the church service when the minister read stories, and then went to Sunday school, or on some Sundays, we had children's chapel in the building next door, which, by the way, that building had been the Unitarian church before the two went back together. Now, on some other Sundays, I did attend the Catholic Church and basically had to just sit quietly. It was kind of mysterious. I liked hearing the organ, but the only thing I got to do was wait until the strange basket on the long poles were pushed in front of people, and I got to drop a penny or a nickel that I was given in. I was pretty bored. And I usually managed to drop the coin more than once before the basket got to me. People stood up, and they kneeled, and they sat down. And I guess with all that moving around, it was easy to let go of the coin I was given. The story is told how embarrassed my dad was when I dropped my coin on the pew in front of us, just as people were sitting down. And forgetting the rule about being quiet, blatted out, "That fat man just sat on my penny." These worlds and the way they treated children could not have been more different. The Monday catechism class that I had to attend was taught by an old, strict nun dressed in a black habit with everything covered except her face. She was scary looking. She never smiled. The class consisted of reciting memorized answers to questions from the Baltimore Catechism. You know, question 1, who made the world? Answer, God made the world. Question 2, who's God? Answer, God is the creator of heaven and earth and all things. There were questions about sin with scary answers that I really didn't understand. We never got to talk about what we thought. And we never could ask a question like we did with the nice lady who told us stories at the Federated Church. Well, luckily, I was pretty good at memorizing back then. And the only thing that kept my interest in catechism was we got gold stars on a chart when we answered the question exactly right. Well, by the end of the year, I was way ahead of the other kids on the chart and set to win a prize that was to be given out at an end-of-the-year mass. In what I think was the last class in June, the nun, banging a ruler on the desk as she did in a menacing fashion, started asking questions. This time, surprisingly, the first question was not from the Baltimore Catechism. She asked us if we went to church on Sunday because it was a sin not to go. Well, I'd gone to church with my grandmother, so I said yes. Somebody must have tipped her off, because then she stared me down and said in her mean voice, "And where did you go to church?" I naively told her I went to First Parish, the name of the Federated Church. Enraged, she said that was a sin, and even though that I had the most points, I was not going to get the prize. Well, here's what happened next. I ran out of the room in tears, composed myself, and marched to the rectory next door where the old priest lived. And when he finally came to the door, I said, "I won the prize fair and square," and that mean nun said, "I can't have it because I went to church with my grandmother. It's not right." He looked at me rather amazed and said, "Don't worry, you're going to get the prize." My mom, when recounting this story, used to say that that's when she knew I was going to be a lawyer. But looking back, I think it was the moment when I really discovered something else. Sunday school at First Parish was fun. Interesting stories. You could ask questions and say what you think. I remember some of the stories were about Jesus, and it sure didn't sound like the same guy that the nun asked questions about. But lots of stories were just about being a good person. And we got to answer and even ask questions in our own words, with our own thoughts. There was not just one right answer. We did lots of fun things. We created art, and we sang songs. We even planted seeds to grow into beautiful flowers. The minister and the teachers laughed and smiled, and I felt loved and respected there. Well, it was the end of the year for both catechism and Sunday school. Catechism ended with that Mass, where the nuns patrolled the aisles in the church with their rulers. Sunday school ended with a special Children's Sunday celebration, and at both, I got something. I got the prize from the priest, while the mean nun looked on in anger. There were no smiles, but at the Children's Sunday service, everyone was happy, and to my surprise, I got something in that service too. And so did every other child, and we didn't have to memorize anything or do anything to earn it. It was just a present for being a child in the community. What those gifts were could not have been more different, and really, it says it all. Both have reminded me of very important things, but for very different reasons. I still have them. The Catechism Prize was this crucifix with a sad, battered body of Jesus hanging on it. The Children's Sunday gift was a geranium. We all got them. Of course, not the same one, but one just like this, with a beautiful, happy flower, which if you took care of it, more flowers would bloom on it. Can we put that here? Why have both been important to me? Well, the crucifix always reminds me of a pivotal point in my faith development. I knew I was never going to be able to be part of a religion that would exclude me, tried to take away my prize, not allowed me to think for myself or ask questions, branded me a sinner for going to church with my grandmother. Of course, as I grew older and discovered I was gay, they had a lot more with which they could judge and exclude me, and by the way, I trying to remember how old I was when the incident with the nun happened, and I think I was about 10. I guess that would be the age, if asked, I'd have to say that I became a Unitarian. Well, many years later, I went on to be the minister of a pretty good-sized congregation with lots of kids, about 150 kids. And I worked with a director of religious education and lots of volunteers who opened children's minds, instilled values in them. They had fun, they learned about many religious ideas, those uniquely ours and those that came from other traditions but were welcome in our church. From the time a child was born, we recognized that child as a human being with great potential, not a sinful being that had to be cleansed, but as a unique, beautiful individual, like a beautiful flower, if you will, who with nurturing would continue to bloom. I performed a child dedication ceremony for pretty much every one of those kids, just like the child dedication ceremony we did a couple of years ago for Anne's granddaughter, Nayeli. And in all those ceremonies, I gave the child a flower and something else. A little boat. And I said, your life will be a great adventure. And as a symbol of our well wishes for smooth sailing, we present you with this little boat. May you ride on the crest of the waves, both in rough seas and calm waters. And if times become difficult, remember, this boat was built by members of this church, and we stand ready to help you sail it, even in stormy times. Well, take a look at this slide. When I retired from that church, the first child I dedicated was now in the last year of high school. As a surprise to me, the children and youth planned a lot of things for my last service as minister. One of the most meaningful is depicted in this slide. On one side, you see me, a bit younger, dedicating Griffin. And on the other side, you see him grown up. He has just given me, in that grown-up picture, the same little boat, kind of little boat that I had presented to him when he was a baby. You can see it's in my hand over his shoulder. He did so with some words similar to what I had said to him as a baby. Something like, your life is going forward is going to be a great adventure, and we wish you smooth sailing in the next part of the journey. Thank you. There's that boat. It sits along with the photo you just saw on the bookshelf in my office. Well, I sort of feel like a kid in RE this morning, having brought my significant possessions for show and tell. And I guess that's true. But these are what really helps me remember what a wonderful thing that we have to offer children. So different from many other religions. These are the kinds of experiences that we try to give to children, the kinds of character we try to develop, the understanding that our religion is centered on love and based on principles and values with which to live their life. That we are here not to indoctrinate, but to help each child discover what they believe and find their own path. Well, you know, this approach to Unitarian Universalism's take on religious education didn't just happen. And Anne explained to you a great deal on that and talked about one of the pioneers, Sophia Lyons-Foss. And as a teacher, a writer, and editor, she helped to revolutionize children's religious education. As a college freshman in 1893, she taught her first Sunday school class in her Presbyterian church, and the curriculum was the 10 Commandments. In those days, Sunday school, even Unitarian Universalist, was exclusively biblical. But frustrated, she began looking at better ways to help children embrace values. She embraced progressive education principles while completing a degree at Columbia, Teachers College in 1904, and in 1923 she became one of the first 2 women professors at Union Theological Seminary, where she also embraced a much broader theology. She was already a prominent religious educator at that time. In the 1930s, she oversaw the development, as Anne mentioned, of a new kind of religious education, new materials with which to teach. When she was 61 years old, she took the job until her retirement in 1951. She took the job with the Unitarians as religious educator. And this new child-centered approach really attracted baby boomers and in many ways was a leading factor in Unitarianism's post-war resurgence. Anne referred you to many of her books that are still unpublished, and one that she held up, I know, was one that Bill Dulcimer loved and used to tell us how that informed his growing up and development as a UU. He had such a passion for Foss, and it's so fitting that we have dedicated this service to him. In 1959, at the age of 83, Sophia Lyons-Foss was ordained a Unitarian minister by what is now Cedar Lane Unitarian Universalist Congregation in Bethesda, Maryland, Ellie's home church. So please join me in her words that for me capture the essence of our religious education program. They're at number 657 in the hymnal, or you can read them on the screen as well. And I'll read the first type, regular type, or whatever color the first is, and then you can join in the response. 657. There we go. Some beliefs are like walled gardens. They encourage exclusiveness and the feeling of being especially privileged.
Other beliefs are expensive and lead the way to modern egocentricity.
Some beliefs are like shadows, clouding children's days with fears of unknown calamities.
Other beliefs are like sunshine, blessing children with the warmth of happiness.
Some beliefs are divisive, separating the saved from the unsaved, friends from enemies.
Other beliefs are bonds in a world community where sincere differences unify and happen.
Some beliefs are like blinders, shutting off the power to choose one's own direction.
Other beliefs are like gateways, opening wide vistas for exploration.
Some beliefs weaken a person's selfhood. They blight the growth of resourcefulness.
Other beliefs nurture self-confidence and enrich the feeling of personal worth.
Some beliefs are rigid, like the body of death, impotent in a changing world.
Hello, my name is Sebastian Sanchez Aguirre, and I will be talking about the Young Explorers, the youth program inside of UUFSMA. In Young Explorers, we learned about treating people right, not because we're scared of getting in trouble, but because we know every single person has a spark inside of them that matters. Whether we're talking about standing up for someone being treated unfairly, or learning cool stories from all around the world, the main goal is to grow our hearts. We're here to be kind, loud for justice, and totally ourselves, because in this space, you don't have to change who you are to belong.
Since I entered the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of San Miguel de Allende, I felt surrounded by support and friendly people, and simply just appreciate this community because we help each other, and especially because we don't discriminate against any vulnerable people, and we include them to our community. Since I joined here, I've met some friends like Seb or Alari, but mostly I feel protected since I don't need to be someone I'm not. As an example, in 2022, I went to the Catholic Church Saturday classes, or well, was forced to, for 3 years. I had to go every week to a place I didn't want to, where I had to believe stuff I didn't, and had to fake a personality that wasn't mine, even hearing things that were against my beliefs. I remember a teacher even said that homosexuality was a sin. I really wanted to yell at her, but I didn't. I wish I did, but no, because it wouldn't have been so Catholic of me to advocate for gay rights. Then another time, I would have been called stupid for not liking soccer or other things that were manly. But here, I don't need to like sports, or yell at people, or fake what I like, or who I'm friends with. And most importantly, I can be myself and believe what I want to, and do whatever I feel is right. And here, it is taught that you should respect everyone with no exceptions, and everyone is equal. We also learn about other religions, so we choose what to believe in the future. Also, we learn about compassion and friendship. This is it. Thank you.
I invite you to rise as you're able and join in singing hymn 338. Lauren will lead us, I Seek the Spirit of a Child.
in our time for generosity, it's a moment to reflect that learning could be a formal space or informal too. But the main thing is the shares. The share is the sharing opportunities that we give to the kids to be kids, and the adults having a safe space to make questions and to be heard. As a community, in order to make this possible, we not just need time, we need volunteers, staff with the specific skills, and also the economical possibility to sustain all this, to wield the fellowship with the safe requirements for all. That's why today, we just not reflect in education and the goals to make it happen. Also, we thank you for your generosity towards make it in order to keep working, to keep straining our fellowship and the learning for all our members. Now, the baskets are going to pass and we're going to gratefully receive.
We have cleared off the table, the leftovers saved. Washed the dishes and put them away. I have told you a story and tucked you in tight at the end of your knockabout day. As the moon sets its sails to carry you to sleep over the midnight sea, I will sing you a song no one sang to me. May it keep you good company. You can be anybody you want to be. You can love whoever you will. You can travel any country where your heart leads, and know I will love you still. You can live by yourself, you can gather friends around, you can choose one special one, and the only measure of your words and your deeds will be the love you leave behind when you're done. Some children grow up strong and bold, while some are quiet and kind. Some race on ahead, some take it slow, some go in their own way and time. Some women love women, some men love men, some leave every label behind. You can dream all the day, never reaching the end of everything possible you'll find. Don't be rattled by names, by taunts, by games, but seek out spirits true. If you give your friends the best part of yourself, they will give the same back to you. You can be anybody you want to be. You can love whoever you will. You can travel any country where your heart leads, and know I will love you still. You can live by yourself, you can gather friends around, you can choose one special one, and the only measure of your words and your deeds will be the love you leave behind when you're done. The love you leave behind when you're done.
For those of you who may not know, that's the Reverend Fred Small, who was my colleague at at Harvard Divinity School and served the church about 5 miles from the one where where I served. And that song has been recorded by all sorts of people all over the world, but you got to hear it from the person who wrote it. So I hope that's meaning, and a Unitarian Universalist minister. Someone left some sunglasses, so please, they're on the table in the back. If you're missing yours, you can get them then. Thank you, Anne, and thank you, Caller, and to all those who work so hard with our children's religious education program, our young explorers, Mary Lou, Glenn, Keong, Allison, Cynthia, and so many others that I'm surely forgetting to name. We really do something they do something quite extraordinary, and I hope you saw that in the testimony given by those children that you saw earlier. Thank you. Yeah. I want to also thank all those who contributed their music today. Of course, Paula, but Anne and Francis, and of course, Malcolm. If you want to happen to see the three of them again, Malcolm's doing a very special concert this week. There's information. It's about a cantata about the famous Canadian woman, Emily Carr. You can get information about that. Also over there's all kinds of information for all sorts of different things. One Nora asked to draw your attention to is about a group of women in the campo that they're organizing a tour to and creating a cookbook. So please do take a look at that. And for anyone who wants to have a seat with coffee hour, we'll try to pull together some chairs here in the room. May see if we can hear each other, but if you'd like to sit and chat, particularly if you're visiting, I will try to be there with you. Each week we end our service with a benediction, which are good words to go with for the week. But this week I thought I'd end with a benediction that I did many times over the years. There was the benediction for child dedication services. Spirit of life and source of love, known by many names, but which no name truly contains. We give thanks for the gift of life. Old and young, we all share in its divine mystery. May we each, no matter our age, worthily grow in the spirit of unfailing love. May we always feel the Holy Spirit that dwells within our community. We pray for the courage and strength to be true to the promises we make to our children and to each other. May we be generous with our love, wise in our teaching, and may we lead our lives in ways that are always worthy models for children to follow. We now extinguish the flame, but not the light of this faith, that we take with us as our guide, and that we proudly pass on to our children, who we hope will be the next generation of liberal religion, and who in their time will make the world a better place and pass this faith on to their followers. Go in peace. Have a good day.